All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Possible here, and I'm back in action here with a very important message for you as we look back at another forgotten classic. And that message is this: less is more. Many times we just don't understand that. We just want to throw in all these fancy stuff and all these amazing, elaborate pranks and ideas and everything, and we completely miss the fact that less is more. And what better movie to prove that than The House of Traps, one of the great forgotten classics that I could ever bring to you. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I highly, highly recommend it. So, but I mean, I'm debating on whether or not to do spoilers. I'm not going to lie. I should have decided this before I started this, but I'm torn, okay? House of Traps is a great movie. 1982 is when it came out. And so believe me, if you haven't seen it yet, and this is one of those movies that's hard to find, you know? It's not like you can just you're not going to see this in theaters anytime soon. People have let a lot of these movies go, and this is one of the shameful ones to let go. It reminds me of another movie called The Collector. If you have seen it, don't bother. It's just torture porn. But it's amazing that this guy, he creates this house and he fills it with all these elaborate traps and everything. And I wanted to enjoy that movie, but his traps were too elaborate, too out there. Whereas these traps, more subtle, more corny, I'm not going to admit. However, very awesome. The whole storyline, okay? Let's get to it real quick. The major story is you have a bad guy who killed his rivals for the throne and became king. Now you have this prince who wants the throne for himself and so that he could avenge his people. So you have kind of that's the good guy, that's the bad guy. But what happens is that the prince employs these bad people, or what you would consider bad people, because who else would go against the monarchy but bandits? And that's who he employs, these very highly trained bandits and everything. And at the same token, the villain, in my opinion at least, sends this good man, a magistrate, a fresh face, who wants to make sure that justice is served. And he's a judge. So, and this is all set, of course, in China, okay? Now, of all places, let me tell you something. Remember, this is 1982, okay? They don't hide anything, okay? Their building is literally called something of the righteous, okay? Committee of the Righteous or Federation of the Righteous or something like that. I should have wrote it down. I just saw this last night, so I'm surprised at how much I forgot. But here's the funny part. The House of Traps is literally called the House of Traps. That's the sign they put on the door. House of Traps, all right? It's basically a large safe. That's right, people. It's a heist movie. I was shocked when I realized that. It's a heist movie, and that was amazing. But what really made this movie work, because what happens is you go in there and they take these valuables and they put them in this bird cage, literally a bird cage that goes up at the very top of the house, okay? One thing you have to wonder, and this is something you have to, when you see it, is why do you go through all the problems that go with going from floor 1 to floor 2 and above? One guy actually starts off at the top of the roof. Why not just stop there? Anybody else would have just been, okay, we're here at the top of the roof, break everything open, steal it. Don't bother with the traps. But then again, we wouldn't have a movie. Now, what I liked about this movie is the fact that this movie really showed you floor by floor how bad these traps can be, okay? So you have these guys who try to break in and try to steal the treasures and everything. And, they start on the first floor, doesn't work out, and then further, okay? Don't want to reveal too much. I am going to change my mind. This will be a spoiler-free review because this movie is a see it. You should see it. Not for the traps, but for the political intrigue. This movie, I told you already it was a heist movie. Now I shall also tell you it's a spy movie. spy versus spy. But it's not like a James Bond spy. It's more like a clever spy movie. And it was very well done, very well written. I started off with the whole, with the subtitles, and then I went into the dubbing. Okay, that might have been a mistake if you want to put up with the guys' voices. But I will say one thing that the House of Traps kind of lacked in a way. It lacked somebody to root for. You understood who was good. It was there, and there was good guys on both sides. You also understood who was bad, and there were bad guys on both sides. You know, you understood what the overall goal was and why they had to get it. But this whole watch out who you trust, back and forth, who's on whose side type of thing. That's what made this movie great, was the intrigue. This kind of complexity in a movie, especially a martial arts movie. To be honest, you don't get this kind of intelligent writing in martial arts movies. You're supposed to know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, let them fight, right? But here, I really was struggling with who I was rooting for and who was the actual good guy and who was the actual bad guy and stuff like that. The ending moment, though, was classic. It was very interesting the way they ended it. It was the cherry on top of the already delicious cake. So if you haven't yet, House of Traps, find a way to get it. It doesn't have it has a great pacing. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm sure you will too. All right, guys, that's it for me for today. We'll see you at the theaters.